Very excited to talk to our next guest. He's very much in the news. Everyone talking about him. Everyone wondering what is next for him. We've got him. Can't wait to talk to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson on the phone right now. Stephen, how are you?
Doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it. I know you were traveling yesterday, very busy over the weekend. You know, it's interesting. When we spoke and I booked you on the show and you agreed to come on, it was Friday. So what a difference, what a change in the welterweight world since we last spoke. I want to start with you, the whole experience of just working on Fox while there's a fight going on that couldn't be more closely linked to your career. Is that enjoyable for you, or would you rather be home watching it, studying it by yourself? What do you prefer?
I actually like being there on set. It kind of hypes it up a little bit because you're not really sure who's going to fight and which one of those fights is going to face off against you next. And I also like it just because, you have to get in a little more depth with the analyst job. You have to go out there and pick the fight apart, or the two fighters that are out there. So you start to understand them a little bit more. So, I like being in studio, actually. This past weekend, it was good. It was great.
Okay, so you're watching that fight. It's all culminating. It's Robbie Lawler versus Tyron Woodley. And you were on the record. You said, just a simple sort of innocent question. Hey, if you had it, your way, who would you prefer to fight? You said Lawler. You thought it would be a fun styles matchup. I don't think a lot of people disagreed with you. You're watching that fight. Do you get the sense that something's coming, like that right hand? Like, is the finish coming soon, or were you sort of settling in for a 5-round war like we've seen from Robbie Lawler?
I was literally expecting to see, Robbie Lawler go out and just overwhelm Tyron, the Robbie that we've seen in the past. But as soon as they got out there, I realized, man, for some reason, this is not the same Robbie that we normally see. I mean, right off the bat, at first you see Tyron backing up, but you could tell Tyron was kind of waiting on him for Robbie to close that gap so he can throw a big right hand. But then they got into a clinch position, and I don't know if Robbie felt the power of Tyron or what. But from then on, Robbie was backing up, and that's something you can't do against Tyron Woodley, is back up, because if you give him that forward momentum, he's going to land a shot or he's going to end up taking you down.
A lot has been made of the fact that Lawler's been around this sport a very long time. He's taken a lot of shots. At some point, we tend to see, it's this term that really isn't a scientific term, but the chin tends to deteriorate. Do you think that led to his demise on Saturday, or was that just a really good punch that would knock out most people?
I think it was just a really good punch. I think Robbie is still the exact same fighter that we have. I just didn't see it that night, or maybe it just wasn't his night. But I think it was the fact that Tyron's got some power in his hands, in that right hand, There was nothing really going on in the beginning of that first round.
Yeah.
I think if Robbie would have pressed Tyron just a little bit more, started to, pressure Tyron some and have Tyron kind of waste or use a little bit of that nervous energy, I think that punch would have had a little less steam on it. But since there was nothing thrown in, 2 minutes of that fight, he loaded all of his energy into that one punch, and that's all she wrote. I think he can, with a punch like that, he can definitely knock out pretty much anybody in the division.
Now, if I'm watching you on that Fox set as you're watching this unfold, this knockout unfold, what's your immediate reaction? How did you take it in?
Well, I was very surprised. I'm like, man, this is not. I was kind of disappointed because I did want to see a little bit more out of that fight, out of each other, out of both of them. But Robbie just wasn't there. It was like, man, that was kind of disappointing. But it was a crazy KO. But a little disappointing that Robbie didn't tee off a little bit.
Yeah.
More, it wasn't him. But after the knockout, I was like, well, I guess. My first reaction was, I guess I'll be fighting Tyron Woodley.
Okay. And we will get to that in a second, but I first want to know, for the record, were you told by anyone in the UFC, watch this fight, you're next for these guys? Like, that's a done deal?
No, I have not heard a thing.
Okay.
And I was hoping, they were just kind of waiting to see what had happened, what will happen this past weekend for the fight, and then I would know something. But as of yet, no, man, I haven't had a word.
Okay, so now you settle in and they say, okay, Tyron Woodley's coming up. You're going to talk to him, do an interview, and I've seen how this all unfolds. And you're kind of in that weird spot of being, an analyst, and you're sort of trying to be unbiased, but you also want to know what's next for you, and you're about to, maybe fight this guy. And he comes out there and says he doesn't want to fight you. And to his, in fairness to him, he had been saying that all week, so it wasn't like a new thing. But whatever. Okay, so he says that, and you're like, wait a second. He's talking about Nick Diaz and GSP. How do you react to that? Because this is new territory for you. For a guy who's on set, your cameras are on you. You have to react to the guy who you think is next for you now saying, no, I'm not going to give you this opportunity. I'm going to go for those guys. Internally, how are you reacting to this?
Man, I mean, in my head, I was like, really? Are you kidding? You're kidding me, right? That you wouldn't give me this shot. I mean, yeah, he went out there, he defeated Robbie Lawler, but he took this fight, and a lot of people didn't think he deserved it in the first place. But seconds after winning that title, already choosing his fight. I mean, come on. I mean, who gets that? Who really gets to do that? I mean, you're starting to see that a lot more. It's almost like do the rankings really count? Did it really matter? And I was kind of upset for him to say that, just because he knows I'm the number one guy. He knows I've been working really hard. I'm on a 7-fight winning streak. But to pick I think you have to defend the title at least once before you can start picking your shot.
Do you think it has something to do with you as a fighter?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that he is scared of me, but it almost seems like he just doesn't want to fight me. Like, he just doesn't want to step in the ring. I don't know if he thinks it's a bad matchup, but no matter what, man, I'm fighting this. I'm fighting Tyron. I'm fighting Tyron Woodley, and it's going to be at Madison Square Garden.
Whoa.
No ifs, ands, or buts, man. I mean, come on, guys. Come on, UFC. Come on, Tyron. You got to give it to me, man.
Well, and by the way, are you calling him Tyron just to piss him off?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, no. No, I'm really not. I
thought you were doing it to piss him off.
I literally thought that's what his name was. And I found out this weekend it was Tyron.
Yeah.
It was Tyron. I literally found out this weekend. Make sure you say his name right. I'm like, have I not been saying his name right the entire time? I'm like, no, he hates that. His name's Tyron. I'm like, oh, crap.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm still trying to get used to it, but I'm not trying to piss anybody off. But, hey, if it gives me the next title shot, then yeah.
But wait a second. You just said that whole MSG thing with great certainty, great conviction. Do you now know something that we don't?
No.
You paused there for a second.
The fact that, hey, I mean, come on. Hey, if they don't give this to me, then something is really wrong.
Have you talked?
Wouldn't you say?
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you talked to anyone from the UFC since the fight ended?
No, I have not.
Huh.
Just my managers, just the people around me, and just Tyron.
Have they talked to the UFC? Your management team, have they reached out to the UFC?
You know what? I know they're going to do everything they have. They haven't said anything to me yet, but I know they're working on it.
When you hear names like GSP and Nick Diaz, big names with strong fan bases, GSP, of course, the former champ who walked away, does that make you worried? Are you worried that you might get passed over for the sexier fight, the big money fight that he put, as Tyron puts it?
I mean, the way things are going and what you've seen in the past with fighters, yeah, man. I mean, you're getting, 13, was it Dan Henderson fighting, maybe fighting the middleweight champion. I mean, he's ranked number 13.
Right.
And then they're talking about guys who hadn't fought in the game in how long? Already getting a title shot? It is disappointing to hear that, and it does worry me a little bit. But in my head, I'm getting the shot. I don't care. I got to put my foot down, man. I got to tell everybody how I'm feeling, and as of right now, I'm very disappointed that he wouldn't take it.
Huh. Is it somewhat deflating that you get to this point, you feel like you take all the fights, you do everything that's asked of you, and now you have to continue to campaign when you thought that you were, that it was a foregone conclusion? Is it deflating?
Yeah, to be honest with you, yes. Because you just don't know what to expect or what's going to happen. In the past, it's always been, you're number one contenders, you're fighting for the title.
Yeah.
But now it's got to be, who puts more butts in the seats. And to be honest, I think we would do fine.
Yeah.
I think we would bring a crowd to Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's the biggest fight card of the year. huge pay-per-view points. I mean, it would be big for both of us.
If you were in his shoes, would you pull a move like that? Like, as a fighter, I think you understand where he's coming from. He wants to make the most money possible. Now you're saying we can make money together. Like, let's sell this thing. Would you ever do that? Like, as a champion, do you say to yourself, oh, there's dream fights that I want? Or would you be the kind of champion who would just say, like, okay, now I'm the champ and it's time for them to serve whoever they think is next for me?
Exactly. I mean, I think at least 1 or 2 fights should be that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just got the title. Fight the number 1 contender. You know, you go out there and smoke the number 1 contender, then you can start talking about who you want to fight. You know, but a lot of people think you're not the champion until you defend it one time. But right off the bat, just start picking who you're fighting, and that's ridiculous. Defend it one time. Let the number 1 contender get out there. Prove yourself that you actually won the title. I mean, yes, he did land that big one punch. But, you know, I don't know, man. It's just, it wasn't enough for me.
What do you mean by that? What wasn't enough?
You know, he did land that one punch, but we all know that wasn't the same Robbie.
Huh.
You just going out there looking at the fight, that wasn't the Robbie that we all expected. And I think he knows that. Why
do you think that is?
Why do I think that wasn't the Robbie we normally see?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I mean, every fight that he's had since he's champion have been 5-round wars.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you can see it in somebody's eyes, fighters' eyes, if they want to be out there or not. And I almost got the feel that he didn't want to be out there for some reason. Maybe he didn't put in the work like he should. Maybe he's gotten himself into a rut. Maybe it's something mental, because he has been. Everybody's been questioning his chin. And he knows that Tyron has power. So I just think he hesitated, and you can't do that against somebody who's just, you know, got the flame rekindled under them, you know, after being out for 18 months. You see a lot of guys who are out that long just get fired up. You know, I remember when I ended up tearing the ligament in my leg, I was out for 3 years, but then I was itching at the bit to step out there and fight again. It was like a new fire in me, you know? And I think that's what Tyron felt this past weekend. You can't do that against somebody who's been out that long. Maybe he expected he didn't prepare himself in those 18 months. There could be a lot of different reasons why we didn't see the same Robbie Lawler, but it wasn't him.
Very, very interesting insight, because I actually asked him that question at the press conference. I wondered, there had been some talk that he wasn't really motivated for this fight. He was sort of hoping for a GSP or a Conor McGregor or a Diaz fight, and Woodley, you know, was the one that he got matched up with. And I wondered if it was hard for him to get up for it. Like, he didn't seem very, very excited for this. So that can translate into a lackluster performance, right? As a fighter?
I agree with you, yes. I mean, you can't take anybody lightly, no matter who you're stepping in the octagon with, if you want to be in there with them or not. And you can just tell, man. I mean, even with other fighters that I face in the division, as soon as you step out there, you can hear it when they talk in the interviews that they're not motivated for the fight. Maybe they got too much on their plate, but you can tell it, man. You can just see it. And that's what I saw out of Robbie.
From your perspective, what was the better matchup for you? Was it the striker, Robbie Lawler, or the wrestler? You know, and obviously he's looked tremendous on his feet, especially in this last fight, Tyron Woodley. Like, which matchup, not from like a selling pay-per-view or just a fun fight, like which matchup did you prefer for yourself in your supposed first title fight?
For me, it was Robbie.
Okay, why is that?
Just because he was a guy that nobody's beaten, which is what a martial arts, you know, we are out here to fight the best. Mm-hmm. And he was the best before he lost this past weekend. And the fact that I wouldn't have to look for any takedowns. I knew it was going to be a stand-up war. And, you know, but I faced high-level wrestlers before. I faced powerful guys before. It doesn't matter who won, you know, the fight. I think it's a great matchup for me. Either way.
is it fair to say that you were disappointed before the whole like Nick Diaz GSP stuff came out on the show? Were you disappointed that Robbie was taken out before you got to him?
Yeah, I was. I was disappointed because he was the guy I wanted to be. I wanted to be the guy to take him out. But, hats off to Tyron, man. He beat me to it. But he is a champ, and I am the number one contender. Stop calling people out who haven't fought in a year or 3 years. Fight the guy who's ready, man. Fight the guy who's earned it this year, who's put in all the work, who's beat the number one, beat the number two, and take on me, man.
Serious.
So that's what I got to say to him if that was possible. I did say that this past weekend, and I'm a respectful guy, and I try and do it the best way possible. But I just think it's kind of crap that he won't take it.
And that leads me to my next question, and serious question here: are you too nice for this fight game? Is that do you need to be more of a dick to be an MMA fighter and demand what you want? Squeaky wheel gets the grease, all that stuff. Does that ever cross your mind? Does anyone ever tell you that you have to be a little more selfish, a little meaner?
You know what? I have heard that, especially now.
Yeah.
I am a nice guy, and it does make me a little nervous that I have to do that. I'm not good at it, but B, that's just not who I am. And at this point in time, and I guess now that I'm here in this situation, it almost calls for it a little bit. You kind of have to get out there and call your shots. And maybe you don't have to be rude about it, but demand what you want, and I think that's what I'm doing. I know what I want. I know what I deserve, and I think everybody knows I deserve it. I mean, the fans know it. And Tyron does. He knows that I deserve that shot too. So I don't know where he's playing at.
I don't think the world is ready for the Wonderboy Thompson heel turn though. Like don't go like Blackbeard on us and start spitting on children. You
don't have to worry about that, man. Like I said, that's just not me. I'm gonna demand it, in a very respectful way and just doing it the right way. That's what I'm about. Just doing everything the right way. And that's how I was brought up. My dad's the same way, and he's not about trying to cut any corners or anything like that. Just do the right thing. And that's what I expect out of this business, out of this game.
By the way, how's your thumb?
Man, it's much better, to be honest. I ended up having a little hairline fracture and a partially torn ligament.
Oh.
It's taken some time. I think they gave me like 6 weeks. So, it's much better. My grip is a little weak, but other than that, I'm back hitting the bag and back into training. So, man, this past fight just fired me up. I'm back in there. I'm ready, man.
So you would be ready for November?
Oh, I would be more than ready in November, and that's what I've been telling everybody. Madison Square Garden is where it's at, man. That's a big show.
Yeah.
So we could put butts in the seat. I think, not just me and Tyron, but that show's going to be huge.
By the way, does it bother you when he calls you Wonder Woman?
I knew that was going to come up. Nah, man, are you kidding? I've been in this game since I was 15 years old. Been fighting since I was 15. I've been called, man, Wonder Bread, Wonder Woman, Wonder Bra. I've been called it all. It's almost like, I don't know. I think he was calling my mom now because my mom is a Wonder Woman.
Uh-huh.
So trust me, he don't want none of that.
And by the way, Wonder Woman kicks a lot of ass. I mean, it's not exactly an insult.
I know. I mean, look at if you watch Batman vs Superman, I wouldn't want to mess with her either.
Yeah. Okay. Last question for you, and I appreciate the time very much. In your heart of hearts, do you believe this will be an easy road to getting this title shot, and do you believe that you're going to get it, or are you in for something, a little rocky here, a little uneasy?
I'm a little uneasy as of right now. You don't know what the UFC's thinking. You don't know who they're going to give them. But, I expect them to do the right thing and give it to who most deserves it, and that's me.
It's funny. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this or heard this, but in January, Tyron Woodley was pretty much saying the exact same thing as you after Carlos Condit fought Robbie Lawler. A lot of people were calling for the rematch between them, saying that maybe GSP should fight Lawler, you should fight Lawler, Conor McGregor should fight Lawler, Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, and he had to weather a lot of storm, dodge a lot of bullets, and he got what he wanted. And now it's amazing to hear you say this about him. So maybe the message is, time to pay it back. Like you got that opportunity, right. I need that opportunity that you were asking for just 5 short months ago.
Exactly.
Well, good luck to you, Steven. I really appreciate the candor and the insight, and I hope that you get what you're looking for, what you deserve. It would be a shame if you don't get that title shot. We'll be talking to Tyron later in the show, so curious to hear what he has to say as he has a couple of days to think about all of this. But I appreciate you coming on here today.
Hey, thanks, my friend, and definitely enjoy it, man. I hope we can do it again.
Okay, for sure. There he is, Wonderboy Thompson, one of a kind. Always a great pleasure to talk to Steven Thompson. And, putting aside money, putting aside pay-per-view points, putting aside all of that, there is no one on this earth that can deny the fact that he is the number one contender in this division. Merit alone. But as we have learned throughout the past year, especially in MMA, merit doesn't mean all that much. And that's just prize fighting, prize MMA fighting for you. This is a business. It's a little entertainment as well. And sometimes the guy who deserves it doesn't get it. But I do believe if promoted correctly, that fight is big. Maybe not as big as the GSP return or the Nick Diaz return, but I do believe that it is big if promoted correctly, because both of them bring a lot to the table, in my opinion.